First thing you're going to need is one sleeping tired key. Alright? If you don't have your key, you can't make the video. Welcome back to the Mod Addict. So, I know this channel has pretty much been based around my 90LX. But I did start off in the 4.6 community on YouTube. Now, I had a Fox body. Prior to that, I've always been into Mustangs, but my channel started with a 4.6. I've had Scarlet on the channel. I've had James's other car. I guess we're going to call it Frosty 2-valve. I don't know, something. But I'm in the 2-valve world as well. It's just I'm focused on my Fox body. But I wanted to make this video because I've had more than a few people write me and ask me about this. And I talked about it in a previous video way long ago, but I'm going to cover this in depth. And that's how to basically, what I call bulletproof your PI intake. So here is my modified PI intake manifold. So what I've did is I've cut off even the little flange part where the gasket goes. So it would look like this on the actual intake. It's got a plastic piece there, and then it's the manifold plastic and then the gasket here. So what happens is, in between the gasket and the intake, that unnecessary piece of plastic, it cracks, it warps, it bloats, it does all kind of weird things. And it leaks. You can see by all the RTV on this, where I was trying to get things to work right. So what I do is I cut that off. Now that'll leave the gasket sticking out like this. You're going to bolt your crossover. You'll bolt it straight to the head and the gasket. What that does is that eliminates that plastic piece on your intake manifold there, and it works just fine. That little bit of space does not make a difference in anything. You might have to put a washer on the top for your alternator, but that's about it. But you can see that little bit of space right there, right by my thumb. That's just where the intake used to stick out. Now I'll show you a picture if I can find it of what it looks like. But the other thing I do, these are notorious for leaking back here. So I take, I don't know how well you can see that, that is a metal insert. I insert it and epoxy it in there, and then depending on the size you can find, I put a sleeve over it pretty much, so when the hose bolts on, it'll go over this because it's a pretty big hose. But these never leak after I do this repair. That metal is not going to crack. This is epoxy all the way down in here. Let's see if we can see it from the bottom. Yeah, if you look from the, well, it ain't going to cooperate with me, but yeah, you can see that, the tube in there. Now, you can bring it all the way down to the very, very, very bottom, but I didn't need to. But that's the two things I do to basically bulletproof these, because like I said, this right here is just terrible. I'm going to try to insert the footage of, you know, what it looks like before. Now you can Dremel this away. I took and cut it off with a saw, and then I took a file and just kind of fine tune it, just try to make it as even as you can all the way around. And then, like I said, this right here, I just found a insert. I don't remember the pipe or anything, but I think this one's copper. It might be brass. I don't remember. But epoxy it and push it down in there. I found something that fit perfect in there. It had to be pressed in pretty much, but wasn't enough to crack the plastic. And like I said, you can see the epoxy, and this ain't coming out. This is solid, and I don't have to worry about that cracking anymore, because it always cracks. It breaks the nipple up here, and that is rock solid now. Do them two things to your PI intake, and you will have a very, very long life out of it, I can assure you. I've did this numerous times for numerous people, and it always comes back with great results. Now, one thing I do have to mention is, if you have a non-PI intake on your car, an actual Ford one that has the aluminum crossover, you're going to transfer your aluminum crossover from the MPI to the PI. It'll bolt right on. Only difference is it has this provision drilled and tapped. If you're just getting a PI intake and you had like a Dorman or something on there, that crossover is not going to work. It's got to be a Ford crossover. So you have to take your PI crossover and you have to drill and tap that for your other sensor. It's been a while since I've been working with the electronics of 4.6. One of these is for the gauge and one of them's for the ECU. I want to say this one's for the ECU. I can't remember, but it's got to be drilled and tapped and put in. They sell kits online that already comes with the drill and tap, or the bit and everything. I don't remember exactly what it is, but if I find it, I will post that on the screen as well, or in the description, one or the other. But yeah, this is just a quick video on how I essentially bulletproof the 4.6 intake. So there you have it, guys. It's pretty simple. Not a lot to cover there. Like I said, your intake should look something like this with a crossover off. And you can see up front where the crossover is missing. And what I do, I just cut that part off. Like I said, just crossover bolted to the gasket and to the head. Simple. So if you've been struggling with a leaking intake or anything of that sort, as far as them two places, that's the most common places that they fail. I haven't really seen anything else fail unless you over torque them and rip the thread certs out or break it. But other than that, I've never had an issue from a intake that I've bulletproofed, essentially. So if you found this information beneficial or insightful, whatever, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get my views up. YouTube is just not pushing it out there. I have shorts that have like 12 and 13 views when I used to get over 1,200 views. So like, comment, subscribe, guys, like the usual, you know, BS stuff that most YouTubers put in there. And I'll catch y'all next time. We got some data logging to do on horseplay here. And the supercharger's going to be roaring up and down the road. Thanks for watching. This is the Mod Addict, and we out.
I won't turn around, I done made it this far. Look back now, that wouldn't be too smart. Shoot for the stars even when it gets hard. Put my faith in the Lord with the 60 bars. I won't turn around, I done made it this far. Look back now, that wouldn't be too smart. Shoot for the stars even when it gets hard. Put my faith in the Lord with the 60 bars. I won't turn around, I won't turn around. No matter how far I go, I'll never